Good afternoon, everybody. It is Wednesday, October 8th. It's 3:45 in the afternoon here. And, well, what's the news? I don't know if there's anything really that earth-shattering. I think most of the stuff that I've put out that would be is, I hinted at it all yesterday. A lot of videos yesterday from a lot of other people after I finished mine. I don't know when they made theirs and when it went up or something. I think I was a little bit earlier on a lot of that information, but stuff today, there's a few things. Candace Owens is always coming out with some good shockers. So anyhow, and something I should have said in my last video is that Zelensky, and not just Zelensky, has said that Ukraine will, I have to emphasize that word, will enter the European Union. So, so somehow he's got information that other people don't have, and who knows how accurate that is. And of course, Ursula von der Leyen has been threatening it over and over again, and apparently by the rules, some apples here, but it's not an apple tree. Oh yeah, here's one. I was thinking first or second there it was a grafted onto both. It looks like some nice apples up there too. Get my ladder. All the ones that are close are gone. Okay, but anyway, Viktor Orban said he's going to be vetoing that, and that's supposed to be what the rules are like. And they said they're in the European Union that they're coming up with ways to bypass Viktor Orban's veto. I don't know if that's the same for Moldova, if they're going to try to get them both in at the same time. And of course, in the past, other countries had to meet more stringent requirements to enter into the EU, which obviously Ukraine does not meet those requirements. What they are, you'd have to look that up. But then again, there's some other countries, and I know, people even before the European Union was actually going, and and they were from, like, say, Romania, and they were telling me about a lot of the corruption in Romania and some of these other places in Eastern Europe. And at that same time, I talked to people, as you know, even back then, oh boy, let's go back as far early as, let me think of some times, not 1990, it's later than that. So I guess about 1999, that people that would be going through Belarus, they said they could not bribe or anything the officials. So they said that the officials were definitely not going to take any bribes and things like that. And then they said, but they couldn't get through a lot of these other countries without bribing. You have to make a bribe, and the officials at the border, customs and all that, had to, they were saying, you have to pay us such and such amount of money. And these German travelers, they said they complained, and they got the supervisor, and the supervisor came and said, what? They're saying you have to pay 25 extra euros? Well, that's too cheap. It's actually 50 euros. So anyway, more corruption money. So they they thought they could not be corrupt, not have to pay corruption money. Turns out that the supervisor was even more corrupt than his subordinates there at the borders. I think that was in Romania. Anyway, it was the truth in other places too. Of course, it was even more true in Ukraine. That is, of course, the model of corruption, and it still is. Lots of corruption going on there. I heard about that even long before that time. They said, you want to avoid Ukraine, it's so corrupt. So, and it still is. It's probably even worse. I'll have a little bit more to say about that a little bit later in this. It's not going to be a very long video. And but anyway, so who else was saying that Ukraine's coming in? Of course, Ursula von der Leyen, the Empress von der Leyen. Wow. Yes, they said he's going to come in. And it's just like Viktor Orban said, and just what I just now told you about all this corruption, it makes you really wonder that Ukraine probably, if it didn't run on corruption, it wouldn't run at all, I'm wondering. And but Viktor Orban basically said that then The European Union will be gone, and it will be gone. It will be gone. He said it's already disintegrating. He will not let Hungary, and the people of Hungary, of course, probably don't want it either. They don't want to adopt the euro as a currency, even though they're in the EU, because they said, he said, why would we want to adopt a dying currency from a dying bloc that's disintegrating, or a disintegrating currency, or take a currency from a disintegrating block or something like that. Anyway, he just said it's doomed, and I don't know if he is referring to the fact that Ukraine is going to come in at some point in time, or if it's doomed even without Ukraine. With Ukraine, you know that it's doomed. You know that they're, and I'll tell you what, Ursula von der Leyen, when you hear about things, what she's done, like with this Pfizer thing, and she's done it, I think, on a couple of things. Her emails like whoosh, disappeared, and she had all these excuses of all of this corruption that she was involved in. And of course, Ursula von der Leyen, she probably really doesn't even care if the whole EU disintegrates, because she's just going to cash in. She's there for her golden parachute. What do you call that? Her, yeah, golden parachute. That's what it is. Some guy looking at me over there. Everybody's so interested, They keep wondering maybe what I'm doing. It's a lot better when you're on a crowded street or something. People give you a glance, which is fine. I would look too. But here they stare at you. I don't know. Terrible. Because, I think it depends on how many people are around. It's sort of like, have you ever worked at a booth, or like on a street fair or something like that, and you're selling things like jewelry? I've worked at places like that, and they talk about when there's too many people, when it's crowded, you don't sell very much. And of course, when there's few people, of course, you still don't sell that much. But it has to be the right size crowd, and then you make a lot of sales. And it's very strange. I don't know, but that's how that works out. Look at the translucent effect on the lights. I don't know if I'll tell you what, I don't know if it comes through on camera as it does visually for me right now. Very interesting. The light playing through there. I don't know. Sorry, I'm into artistic things, I guess. So what else? But yeah. But I tell you what, if Ukraine goes in, oh man, oh gosh. I mean, if you, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Like, you just have to get a feel for this, that it's going to be mass corruption. And Ukraine is going to bankrupt Europe big time. I'll bet you if Ukraine goes into the EU, I don't think it's going to last more than 2 years at maximum. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it won't even last long enough for Ukraine to get in. They do a lot of their own mistakes. And along with that, I was watching, what's this, Danny Haipong. I think it's Danny Haipong. I believe he's a professor or teacher or something, and he's often on with Glenn Deason and the Duran and Scott Ritter and a lot of people like that. And I believe he's like maybe half Asian or something, and he wears glasses. In case you guys don't know who he is, got a little bit of gray hair. He looks very young, but he just maybe has that youthful look. Anyway, but he seems young, but why would he have some little bit of gray hair? Anyway, he's got a very decent show, and he asks some really good questions, pertinent and all. He had it looks like a Chinese professor, and I think it was predictive history, so it was very, very, very good. Jiang, or whatever his name was. You'd have to see, based on the when this video is going up, this video that Danny, I think Haipong or whatever, I watch his content, don't remember his last name so well, but just say I think it's maybe one day before this video is going up. So it's very interesting information. And he was talking about, a lot of things that's based on history, trying to, his predictive geopolitics. And one thing that he was talking about is religious factors. And maybe you can just call it ideology, because you can look at, say, the Banderism, the Banderites, as an ideology. So it's just, religions are ideologies, and so is Banderism. So that's really actually fascinating. And when you listen to him a little bit more, you'll get a gist of what he's talking about. So you already know about banderism, but they don't have some sort of a holy text like religions do. And the religions, and he was quoting, or he was mentioning some of these religions. He said the Mormons, he said the Jesuits, and of course Zionists. There's a lot of different types of Zionists, just as there are a lot of divisions of Christianity. And he said a lot of these people in the government of the United States, they have their belief that certain things have to happen, and that they believe that it will usher in the second coming. And a lot of the Jews say the third temple, to build the third temple, and just a lot of these different religious things, and they're trying to push this. So when I was always asking in these videos, and probably a lot of you do too, and if you're not thinking of the religious aspect of this, it's something you have to really consider, why these politicians are doing these crazy things. And then you look at, say, even J.D. Vance. I think he's a very sane type of guy. I don't know if there's much that I would disagree or dislike about J.D. Vance. And then there is like Hegseth. I don't know even about that. But you see somebody like Ted Cruz. Obviously, he's exposed himself as a real nutcase as far as ideology and religion is concerned, And so many of these people, they read something in some sort of a text. I don't know if the Muslims actually have a lot of these things, but in the Christians and the Zionists and some other ideologies, I guess, they're trying to make the so-called prophecies or things come true. So they're trying to push these things in those directions, that this has to happen and that has to happen, and that will explain a lot of some of the crazy stuff that they are doing. And it makes you wonder about Europe. So why would these countries in Europe, Merz, Olaf Scholz, those two in Germany, and you look at Starmer or Macron, why would they be doing a lot of this crazy stuff? I don't know. Do they have some, I don't know if it's religious or some other type of ideology? Maybe it even fits into banderism, to the Banderites or whatever. That's why they're like destroying their countries on purpose and doing these things. And it's like, well, why in the heck are you doing that? That's the stupidest thing you've ever heard of. But I guess to them it isn't stupid, so they're trying to bring something about, I guess. I'm just guessing. So you can fit it in any way you want to. But I guess that's maybe a big key that will help me. If I can tie this stuff in, I have to maybe think in the back of my mind, or look and find out what's in these people's ideologies, and so maybe it'll explain why they do the things that they do. That doesn't make any sense to any rational thinking person that has two working brain cells. So anyway, so now we get to Candace Owens. All these attacks on Candace Owens, and she keeps revealing more and more oddities. And I think at one point in time, it was not, because this hasn't happened a long time ago, this assassination of Charlie Kirk. And a lot of you, I would understand if you're saying, I'm tired of hearing about this, that's over and done with. And sure, history's done, it can't be changed. But I tell you, it's very important to be looking at this stuff and then finding out who did what. And, it's just like the JFK assassination, if you think about it. It tells you how these people operate, or maybe how they have to operate, and sometimes it might even be the same people that were involved in the JFK as those that are involved in the Charlie Kirk thing. But I don't know. You look at these things and you just kind of note, and a lot of time it's just call it some of your education on seeing how people operate. So concerning old Captain Kirk, or Charlie Kirk's assassinations. So one of the subscribers wrote Captain Kirk. Interesting, yeah. And so Candace really does have to watch her back. She's very brave. Like most people say, well, not most people, a lot of people say that Candace has got more balls than any man. So, and she's like one I would never get in a debate with or anything. Candace Owens, she's got a real amazing thing about her. There's no doubt about that. And then you have Laura Loomer. I'm not even so up on her. I guess she's a big Trump supporter, I suppose. And she says now China is involved. China is involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. Oh my. Absolutely incredible. Now I guess maybe she likes Russia. So instead of saying Russia, Russia, I tell you what, I was waiting for everybody to say Russia did it, Russia, Russia, Russia. But no, it's China this time. So I guess China is starting to get involved. So China, China, China. And I don't even know the person's name, but there's somebody that's very high up, a person in this TPUSA, Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's organization. And a lot of people were going after Candace Owens and saying that, that she's out for views, and she's I don't know, either wants to make news or something, and she's hateful because she keeps going on about this with Charlie Kirk. Oh, and it's not doing a good service to his memory or whatever the deal is. And what she said, it really makes sense that Charlie Kirk, he would want people to go and seek the truth and to keep going and not give up. And I actually, whatever, if you listen to Candace Owens, and I think a lot of people have, but I'm telling you, if it's views or something that she would be going for, which I don't think so, she's going to get, as time goes by, maybe less and less views, people are getting a little bit more tired of this, but then she keeps coming up with some zingers, and she just came up with another one. And but like I said, she put out, and I think under the titles like Candace has the receipts, I believe that's what it says on YouTube, and she's talking about, for example, text. She put up text messages that was a group chat, and what Charlie was saying in the group chat, and a lot of people are saying, oh, she's faking it, making lies, just like what I don't know if it was the FBI or whoever putting up this thing of with this Tyler Robinson and this Lance, whatever his name was, the transitioning guy or something, and that was definitely fake. Somebody made up a fake exchange of messages. Very, very, very easy to see that. I saw that very easy, and I wasn't even counting in this antiquated language from the 1920s. I wasn't even thinking on that. I was thinking, well, maybe they talk that way to each other or something on text messages, and maybe that's their little thing or whatever. But it's just, why would somebody go through all this stuff? And then if it's your roommate and your lover, somebody you live with and your lover, supposedly, they wouldn't be talking that way. They would have known certain things about what is going on, and then some big operation. What did Charlie or this Robinson just decide that morning they're just going to go get a gun and take shots at this guy? And of course, Charlie or this Tyler Robinson, there's absolutely no doubt that he did not do it. There's just way too much stuff. And then there was people that are putting out that how sinful it is, that people are going to probably try to give him the death penalty to an innocent man. And I'll tell you what, if they push this, that is more. You don't need any more evidence to know that they are definitely covering something up, because that this Tyler Robinson, the evidence, it's basically, you can throw it all out. It's absolutely ridiculous. He did not do it. He couldn't have done it. It's just, there's just way too many inconsistencies, and there's other parts of the story, and who knows what is true and what is false. Candace is putting it out. I don't know how much of that is true. Like I said, I'm not going to make any judgment. I don't know what Candace actually believes. So you can look it up, I guess, yourself, watching Candace Owens. But, sitting there putting all this time into that, I'm sure you guys have to work. At the moment, I'm kind of not, and I actually have to at some point in time. But anyway, I shouldn't even be wasting. To me, I think it's wasting time. I'll just wait till maybe Candace Owens, maybe she'll put out some kind of a video where everything is summed up, and maybe I think she believes that the truth is going to come out. So anyway, that's going to be very interesting. So let's see. But anyway, somebody from Turning Point USA said that what Candace Owens says is accurate. And those texts are real. Those were texts that were in the chat because they were in the chat group. They are, so a lot of these people that are trying to go after Candace Owens and say that she's falsifying things, it's not. And they admit, Turning Point USA admits, this representative, that exactly was the text. So Candace Owens is not lying. She put this stuff all up. So, and it's like, a lot of people say, well, how come he didn't put it up earlier? Maybe they were asking him. And he said he gave it to the feds, this other person, to the feds, and well, and what the message was, that's also incredibly important. In that message that Candace is talking about, that she put up, that's part of this chat, what Charlie Kirk said is he is abandoning the cause of Israel. He's finished with it. So he will no longer support Israel's cause. That's what was in that text. So in 48 hours after that was put up, Charlie Kirk was dead. 48 hours afterwards. Wow. Jeez. And 24 hours before Charlie Kirk was shot, he said, and it doesn't mean Israel, but he said that he is worried that they are going to try to kill him. And it's not specific who they are, but we all have our suspicions, and I don't know. If you're going to apply Occam's razor to that, people would say that it was Israel, and I think what they mean by Occam's razor is who has the strongest motive, and it is Israel, especially since Charlie Kirk had reached a turning point. He had reached a turning point, and probably he couldn't be taking it anymore with all of this genocide and things like that. I don't know, you can imagine. I did not go to any of these meetings, of course, and I don't know anybody that did, and I haven't seen any, but I'm sure that a lot of people were probably questioning Charlie about killing all of these, Israel killing all of these children, all of these babies and these women and all. And I'll tell you what, the sick people are. There's this guy, what's his name? I have it written in here as Levine or something like that. Did I write it? Yeah, some guy named, Mark Levine, TV host Mark Levine put out that there is no real evidence that Israel killed any women and children at all in Gaza. No evidence at all. And I guess maybe he's saying that all of these photos of all these dead children, I don't know, are these children that great of actors when some of them are only a few months old and all bloody and and a lot of these things I didn't even watch because it is just sickening. And I don't even like using that word when they're showing dead children. I don't mean the children are sickening. I'm just talking about those who did it, and you guys all know what I'm getting at. And nasty people. And no, it's all fake. It's all fake. And it's propaganda by Hamas. That's what he said, this Mark Levine. And it makes you wonder, why does anybody watch these people? If you even know that it was even true once or twice, you would not watch somebody like this Mark Levine, who, and like even, Ted Cruz or these people, they're so far up Israel's backside, they need an excavator to pull them out, sniffing on the crap that Israel is doing. Anyway, so anyway, Charlie definitely was leaving the Israeli cause, and obviously Israel knew that, and things have been they've been having meetings and all that sort of thing. And then Netanyahu comes out and says Charlie loved Israel above everything else, and he puts out some kind of a letter that was very old. I don't know, I think it was 6 months old. And I don't know if that was even accurate. It's how difficult is it for them to fake something like that? And it's very good to know that Candace did not fake anything, and those were real texts that she exposed that Charlie Kirk was saying. So, the UK police decided to take a break from arresting people for pressing the like button. And I guess they busted a gang that stole over 40,000 cell phones. They busted them with they had 2,000 in their possession at that time, but they had stolen altogether over 40,000 cell phones. Incredible. Over 40,000. Obviously it must have been in London, and you know, big. I tell you what, the UK, who would want to live in that cesspool now? Incredible. I'll tell you, I know somebody, and they were. It's actually very funny. Get this. It's very funny, and it's beating the system. As a matter of fact, I'll even tell you who it is. It's Dave. Dave from his website. It's on Rumble more than anything. From the other side. So he didn't want to get a shot. He didn't want to wear a mask, and he didn't want to stay locked up. So he had something printed up that said that he is not supposed to wear a mask. And I don't know about getting a shot or whatever. And he had something printed up and got some kind of a stamp made or whatever, and had it stamped, and you know, maybe like a doctor or something signing it and all that sort of a deal. And he just didn't stay locked up. So when everybody in London was locked up, he was walking around on the street and was taking photos and videos and things with nobody around anywhere. You know. And when the policeman would come up to him and say, where's your mask and all that, and he said, I guess there's a law in Britain, believe it or not, that they're not even allowed to ask you why you're not wearing a mask. You know, I don't know some of the crazy crap about the UK. It's absolutely amazing. So, and I think he might have even told them that, and he says that he doesn't have to, and he showed this little card that he had printed up or whatever. Anyhow, very amazing. So he's done a lot of interesting things. So okay, there is a attractive young, everybody's young, and you know, in comparison with myself. She's a Republican representative. Her name is Anna Paulina. This might even be on YouTube, but I doubt it. That she was exposing again, and I've already talked about this, I think, a month ago, and I don't know if it was the same thing or not. Maybe it's something different, but she was talking about that Zelensky, that it's been found out and proven, apparently, that Zelensky sends 50 million US dollars every month to a Saudi bank. 50 million. And then there's people that saying, oh, the value of Zelensky is 23 million. And everybody knows when I said this already, I think just yesterday or the day before, maybe the day before. Everybody knows that Zelensky is worth a lot more. Forbes put out he had like, I didn't even remember, way over $2 billion at that one time. And when his wife goes shopping, I think she spends 50 million just on jewelry every time they go to New York. and all this, he owns all of the television networks and everything in Kiev, or maybe in all of Ukraine. And he has so many assets and things, and he got so many houses, nobody even knows. He probably doesn't even know how many luxury villas he owns around the world. So anyway, that was just another exposure of him. 50 million. Thank you, American taxpayers, you know, and all these people that it's getting to him, including Donald Trump and Joe Biden, of course. Jeez. Boy, Hunter Biden was getting ripped off compared to what Zelensky takes. His cut of the action. Wow. So let's see. Oh, Mark Levine, what I didn't say about it, he was saying that it is impossible that Israel is killing all these children. What a wow. He said all films and photos and witnesses, doctors, the doctor's testimony, United Nations testimony, doctors and things. It's all Hamas propaganda. So when you ever see these clips of doctors from the United States and Australia and the UK and all over the world, all kinds of different countries, Japan, and all this, talking about, you know, like children, and they all have bullets in their heads, little small children that are like 2 or 3 years old, and they have bullet wounds right between the eyes and things. Oh, that's all just propaganda, and the doctors are talking about it. And then they have diseases that they don't even know. They've never they've never encountered them, so they can't cure these people. You know, having to drink sewer water and things like that because there's no water at the times. And wow, just terrible. And now Greta Thunberg, as I had said, she was out, and now she talked. She gave a good speech. I mentioned that yesterday, but she said that she was tortured, I guess now, and she says she does not want to share what she was subjected to. And of course, other people were talking about the fact that Israelis made her crawl and kiss the Israeli flag. So maybe that's what it was, you know. And you hope that that's maybe the worst of it. It reminds me of the army. I remember I was told to get on my belly and crawl like a reptile. You maggot, you get on your belly and crawl like a reptile. You know, I mean, and you know that it's a game and all that. So back in the army, you just do this. I didn't get on. I don't know. You know, they have all kinds of stuff. That was the old army, but I don't know. I think in some years after I left, of course, they maybe somebody would get offended, so you're not allowed to talk to, you know, trainees and things that way. Which, you know, I kind of agree with it, but anyway. But they're good actors, a lot of those drill sergeants and things like that. I guess I didn't go to officer candidate school. I was going to, and I had everything approved and all that, but I guess they're even worse there in different ways. They put you under a lot of pressure and things. But, you know, I went to other schools and things like that. It was all very fascinating. Anyway. But you have to realize, and it's all a game, and some of the things, you know, it's very stringent. You know, have to show this incredible discipline, and you have to walk straight up and do facing movements as you're walking like a robot and all this sort of thing for the whole day. And yeah, and then some of these really grueling things when you're out, you know, having to do ambushes and to be ambushed and things like that, so you're on your feet most of the time. And you know, looking at this tree trunk right here, this would be like a perfect thing. So whenever you do get a little break, which was maybe 3 times a day or something, you would put your back up against the tree. And this is really strange because you get to know this stuff because you're so tired and your legs are so worn out, you know, from marching with a backpack and a weapon and a gas mask and all of this stuff you got to carry. So you put your back up against the tree and you cross your legs, and that's somehow it's much more relaxing for your legs to do that than just having your legs straight out or anything like that. So it's like, and you learn that you just do it by sitting, so you cross your legs. It's just really a strange thing, because I never like to cross my legs, you know, sitting down. I don't do that when I sit down, but when you sit down and after you're exhausted and you're leaning up your back up against a tree, very solid. That's the best way to relax on you doing these marches and things. Just letting you know. It's strange you can come up with this sort of things based on practice. Okay, but anyway, I guess that's about it. So it's a shorter video, and I know a lot of you guys like it to be at least 30 minutes long. I don't know. I think some people would rather have shorter videos. But anyway, that's all I have to put out for right now. There's other little things, and I didn't write down every little thing I've got to. I find there's interesting stuff. Abby Martin, I think I remember telling you guys that I really liked her. She's a real spitfire. She's like Candace Owens or something. You know, it's really weird. A lot of these women are far better than most men. You know, but because they're more persistent, and I don't know, when you see them as like journalists and things like that. So Abby Martin was very good. I don't really even know why she's not really big in the spotlight now. You know, she used to have that nice hairstyle and all, but I don't know if she has it colored or if her hair is gray. She doesn't look so old, so I don't know. But I liked Abby Martin, always did. So. But who was she talking to? I think it was something on Piers Morgan. So, and she was really socking it to some Israeli guy, and she was talking. She's really up on her information about Palestine and all that. So she's really, I remember her years ago. She's really indignant about how the Israelis treat the Palestinians and all that. So maybe that's why they have her on, because she really knows a lot about what goes on in Palestine and things. So. Anyhow, that's all I have for right now. I thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.